buttons and bows tonight. And as you can see, it is just full of glitter, and she has many, many pieces to show us. So thank you very much. And remember, if you're wanting to show your glass, get a hold of me.
Hi everyone, I am Barb Cruz. My daughter Lisa Wilson will be helping me. And I showed this pattern years ago, but I have quite a few more pieces added to it. I received my first up to, I would say, 20 pieces of glass from my son Tony in 2010. He moved into a big brick home. It was a block off of Boston Edison District in Detroit. And he went through the attic, and up in the attic was a box loosely packed with buttons and bows. It was really neat. So I got that for Christmas. So should I tell him what else that he found? He found a very, very old doctor's bag, medical bag, way up in the attic. And it had the tiniest little woman's dress. And wrapped in the woman's dress was a pearl-handled, what do you call those special? Yeah, gun. It was a special gun though. No. There's a special name for it. It's a pearl-handled gun. Absolutely beautiful. Well, of course, being in that great neighborhood, he got broken into and that got stolen. But that's okay. I got my dishes. So I started from there with about 20 pieces for Christmas, and then over the years from my kids, I also received gifts. On eBay, there was a few things that I purchased. One of my first purchases was the little milk pitcher, which we will be showing. You really have to be careful on eBay with the pictures. It looked beautiful when I bought it, and I received it, and it was pink, but it was iridized pink. So it's not what I wanted at all. But I did keep it. It's somewhere in the basement, packed away. But I did keep it. I didn't want to send it back. Also, the soup bowls, I got those online. I thought there's got to be something wrong with these because there were 6 of them for $75. And at the time that I bought these, one was $75, and that was a good deal. So I ordered the 6, and 5 made it. One was broken to bits, but I didn't complain because it was still a great deal. Also, quite a few of this, especially these tumblers, one of the most expensive pieces in the set. I purchased those from Charlie Haas, and he gave me the best deal anyone could ever give anyone. And he's still selling stuff in that big old pole barn, and he's got every single pattern you can think of. So that's where I got a lot of this. So let me tell you about the company. Jeanette Glass Company, 1888 to 1983. The Jeanette Glass Company, originally Jeanette Bottle Works, was a prominent glass manufacturer based in Jeanette, Pennsylvania. It was founded in 1888 and initially focused on bottle glass production. Eventually it expanded into other products like prism glass, storefronts, and tableware, including the popular Depression-era glassware. The company later produced a range of items including jadeite glass, often unmarked, Later pieces were marked with the letter J by itself or enclosed in a square or a triangle. In 1961, the company bought the old McKee factory in Jeannette, Pennsylvania, where it continued to produce a good percentage of this country's domestic glassware. Jeannette became a major manufacturer of table glassware from the 1920s, and a couple of the lines ran into the 70s. They confidently wrote in their 1951 catalog, "In this catalog, we present with pride some of the best examples of machine-made glassware produced in the United States. Jeannette has specialized in quality glassware since 1898, and every item shows the results of those years of experience in design and manufacture." Some of the colors from Jeannette were pink, jadeite, ultramarine, crystal, and iridescent. Ultramarine was the big news of 1937 and 1938. In 1958, the pink opaque called shell pink was issued. The longest running pattern was Windsor for 10 years, produced from 1936 to 1946. Jeannette produced at least 35 patterns, including Jennyware, Flora Gold, Honeycomb, Cubist, Adam, Doric and Pansy, Homespun, Cherry Blossom, Anniversary, Sunflower, Iris and Herringbone, and of course tonight's presentation of Holidays or Buttons and Bows. Of course, there are many more patterns. The company ceased operations in 1983. Now, one of the first things I was going to explain, a couple of the ladies were up here and looking at everything, and they said, "Oh, we thought this was called Buttons and Bows." And I said, "Well, it is." "Oh, but the book says Holiday." With glassware, you'll notice when you look in books, when you look online, eBay, Google, so many of the patterns that we use and collect have the original name by the manufacturing company, and a lot of them, depending on the pattern, people, I don't know why, they just didn't want to remember the name. It has buttons and bows on it. That's what we're going to call it from now on. So the glass companies started calling their glassware, when they wrote their books, with both names. So that's why that's like that. The pattern name describes this glass, buttons and bows. There's a little round button on it, and it is surrounded by bows. Now, Jennifer, I wrote a thing because in January she started with being very descriptive of the words that we use when we talk about our glass. It continued in February, it continued in March, April, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Let me just give you an example. Yes. This is a flat soup bowl with a rayed center, a flat rim, and a sawtooth edge. Okay? Now, if you know glass, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know glass terms, you have to learn them. And that's exactly, there's 4 different things right in that bowl. You can hold that back up. It's flat rimmed. So it's not round, it's not scalloped, it's flat. And I looked up, why would somebody want a flat rim on a soup bowl? I don't think it really counts for this, but you can, if you don't have oyster crackers, you can lay flat crackers on it. You can lay your saltines across the top. I meant to bring some and I forgot. The sawtooth, a visual representation resembling the teeth of a saw blade. So that's how you can always remember what a sawtooth is. The rayed center. Most of your dishes have either a plain bottom. If you could hold up a cup. And I will take this. This is the same company, the same glass, the same price, the same everything. This one has a plain bottom. This one has a rayed bottom. Now, a rayed bottom, any kind of a center burst, such as lined, looped flowers, petals, anything that starts in the center is called a rayed bottom. Flat bottom or footed. We have that example. Over here we have a tumbler. These are called flat bottoms. These are called footed bottoms. So very descriptive when you're looking for something. These patterns look so much alike that you could go into an antique mall and say, it can't be buttons and bows. Everything has a rayed center except for that coffee cup. You have to know that some of the cups don't have anything. They're plain. A chop plate. That's the biggest one over here. Now, even nowadays, that's too big to use as a dinner plate. But a chop plate can be used to serve sandwiches. But back in the day, that's what it was used for, is meat. People would slice their meat, and that is what it was served with. Now a council bowl, and I tried to look it up, because in my opinion, the measurements in the book, in my opinion, I always called this a salad bowl. Buttons and Bows does not have a salad bowl. They have a council bowl. Council bowls are never that deep. So I tried to look up a council bowl for Buttons and Bows. They don't have one in the book, and I couldn't find one. So to me, that's always a salad bowl. It's not really a council bowl. A council. Okay, so Jeanette Buttons and Bows Holiday was produced from 1947 into the 1950s. Colors of this pattern were crystal, iridescent, shell pink, and also the iridized. So if you could just, we'll start at the top anyway, hold up the flat bottomed soup bowl with a flat sawtooth rim and a rayed center with the design of buttons and bows on the rest of it. Now, you call that a soup bowl. Does anyone know what the purpose of a flat bottomed, wide soup bowl is? Do you know what the purpose of making that bowl that way is?
Disperse the heat?
Yes, the heat factor. Disperses the heat and cools your soup off quicker so you can eat it. The deeper the bowl, the hotter the soup stays. And I usually don't make a soup to go with a nice dinner, so we use these as salad bowls. So I think it's better as a salad bowl. We also have a 9-inch dinner plate. This also has the design on the whole thing with a rayed center. And we have a 2 3/4 inch stemmed sherbet, footed, with a plate. Now the plates on Buttons and Bows, I don't have any with a rim. The indentation. Most of your plates that don't have a rim or an indentation on the inside are bread and butter plates. So this one, I've got many of them. I use them. There's no rim, no indentation. They're used for me with my coffee cups, with my sherbets, and as a bread and butter plate. So I had a deal, and I'm not looking for anything with an indentation. So those were those 6-inch plates. So no bread and butter. I use those. The cups, the coffee cups, they're 2 inches. Like I said, I have both rayed and planed. And those tumblers over there that Lisa showed a minute ago, those are 10-ounce tumblers. And then we have our footed tumbler over here. Now, like I said, these are the rarest. When I joined this club many years ago, these were usually about $200 a piece. The most expensive piece, besides the tumblers, is that salad bowl. 25 years ago, it was over $300. And like I said, these $200 a piece. But I got a great deal from Charlie, and I have 8 of them. And he came up to me and he said, I've got more buttons and bowls. He just keeps unpacking. He just keeps on finding stuff. Okay, then we have the butter dish with the lid.
Hold it together.
Together or apart.
But not by the top. You hold it this way.
Yes. You can always tell the difference between, like, if you're somewhere and you see a dish that size, and it's like, is that a large berry bowl or a small salad bowl? What is that? What you want to do is look on the very inside rim. There's a little indentation, like, it holds a lid. So it's usually a butter dish. We also have a cream and sugar, properly held. Never buy the handles. And they only made one style. Sugar, footed with the lid. The candlesticks, those are 3-inch candlesticks. Also very expensive. 20 years ago, they were $150 a pair. Over on this table, on the far left, we have a berry bowl and the large berry bowl to go with it. And then on the other end, we have our vegetable bowl. And we have this right here. This is called a milk pitcher, not a creamer. If you look at the size of the two, one is for milk. I don't know how they did that. They must have really had tiny glasses. But this is called a milk pitcher, and then you have your regular creamer. The large pitcher with the tumblers, and that's very heavy. And we have, and that's a 52-ounce pitcher. We have an 11 3/8 oval platter.
Allergies, sorry.
All right. And a 10.5-inch sandwich tray. Now, a lot of people, you can use these as a charger for a different pattern. Looks very nice. Like I know a lot of people do the red, white, and blue. You can still do pastel colors with that one. And then the chop plate was the 13 3/4 inch. So that one, 20 years ago, was like $140. The book price on this is just incredible from before. And I think Warman's, I think that book, it's not that old, maybe 15 years old. But you can't command any price like that anymore. Well, I think that's it. I think that's all my notes. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Jennifer?
Please share. I heard people asking. Share what a console set is. They want to know. The people want to know what a console
Okay, a console set is a 3-piece set. That, remember the bureaus that used to be in Grandma's dining room with all the cupboards and little things. They used to keep their silverware and their good china underneath a buffet table sometimes. A console bowl, Lisa, can you hold up? Yes, that one. Is a 3-piece set. Turn it this way, okay. Only it is shorter. It's only about 3 to 4 inches high. And they usually had candlesticks on either side, and you could use it for fruit. I know my mother-in-law just always had plastic fruit in it. Who puts it in there, you know? But yeah, so that's a console. Some of them flowers with a frog. Some of them have a big bow going, a bow type curve. A lot of them are scalloped. They're always beautiful and they add a lot to the dining room. My go with tonight, they did not make buttons and bows, and this is Diamond Point by Indian Glass Company. Any more questions? Yes, Jennifer?
Now tell them what a frog is.
Oh, a frog. Oh, wait.
Jennifer, I was going to say that too. Like, they know
Okay. Okay. Truth be told, I had a beautiful wedding basket called Daisy and Button by Ellie Smith. It was huge, and I was going to buy fresh flowers for it. And when I went to the Great Lakes show over the weekend, I bought a frog. So, just a show of hands, how many people do not know what a frog is? Okay. Darn it, I should have brought it.
Well, you can show them what paperweights and describe it.
Okay.
Like a paperweight.
Greg, may I touch your glass? If this were a frog, it would have a certain amount of holes in it. It sets on the top of the vase, maybe going down about an inch. They come in pastel colors. Most of the time it's crystal. And you put your water in the vase, and then you take and you put your flower stems going all the way around. So it makes a beautiful, beautiful bouquet. You don't have to hold it in the middle with anything.
What's that green stuff? Because Chris has it in there. It's like that,
Oh,
but it's
yeah,
it's
Oasis.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an
Kinda like that.
oasis.
So it goes in the bottom of the bowl or it goes on
Yes.
the top of the base?
The bottom or the top for that. But a flower frog goes on the top, and I bought it, not even thinking I was using a basket. Oh, yes, bring that up here. Jim has a frog.
Don't they also have them with nails in them?
Okay, this is a frog that is attached to a bowl, a shallow dish. So if you were going to use this in the middle of the table, you would put, water in there, and short stem, roses or whatever flowers you want. Make them as tall as you want and create just a beautiful flower arrangement on that. Thanks, Jim. Did I use any other terms?
And
Yes, Jerry?
And using other terms, I know Jennifer brought this up at, I can't remember, maybe 3 meetings ago, and trying to explain to new members what some pieces are and why they're named that. Now, milk pitcher was used for milk, for cereal, like oatmeal, whatever, and the regular pitcher is a water pitcher.
Okay, if you did not hear what Jerry said, that particular milk pitcher wasn't used to fill individual glasses. It was used to fill a cereal bowl, oatmeal. So you have a specified amount of milk, and more than one person can certainly use it. Thanks, Jerry. Learn something new every day. Okay, anyone else?
There was another
Yes.
question. You said you bought a piece on eBay that was iridized?
Iridized.
Explain that. Yeah, explain that.
Okay. Okay, an iridized is when they have the color already pink, and the solution is, Greg, is it like just another color, but it's see-through, and it can have, depending on the light, you can see yellows and greens and blues.
Rainbow.
Like it's like a rainbow effect that comes all over it.
Like Aurora Borealis, like almost like the Aurora Borealis. Like
Yes, like Aurora Borealis. Jonathan, do you want to add anything to that? For iridized? No? Yes, Ashley.
Federal glass has iridized glass, they call it moon glow. So you can look that up and see.
Okay, moon
It's
glow.
not glass, so you can see the colors very well on it.
Okay, most of the time it's used on crystal because it really brightens up crystal. Okay, keep track of these terms in your head after all of our presentations, and keep the questions coming, because otherwise it could take you 20 years to learn them. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Barb. So many terms. We're going to keep track because we're giving everyone a test at the end of the year. Okay.